Hello everyone, my name is Vincent and we are live today from the TM1 user conference in Sydney. And I'm here with Marius. Welcome Marius.
Thank you.
To talk about a specific use case of TM1Py. I think we already discussed and TM1Py is quite popular. So I think everyone is familiar about what it is. So free Python libraries for Python, which can help you to do lots of stuff with TM1. So we would like to cover a specific topic today, which is about loading data, because with TM1 you build cubes, but in cube you need data. So we need to get data in our cubes. So Marius, so first of all, maybe how can we get data into our cubes?
I guess
like the most popular way.
Yeah. I think the first answer, writing data into the cube, should always be TI, right? It's good. It's
TM1 process.
Sorry, what did I say?
A TI. No, you just said TI.
Yes,
yeah.
It should be a TI, right? And in the most cases, it's good, it's fast, it's reliable, and it's easy and comes out of the box.
So can you get data from anywhere with a TM1 process?
No, that's the limitation that we have with TI, that we're somehow limited to flat files and SQL databases.
Okay, so currently, if I want to get data from another data source or another web services, I would need to extract to a CSV and then load it send it to my server and use the TM1 process to load the data.
Exactly. And this is, I think this is the gap that we can close with TM1Py.
Okay, yeah, because there is lots of other data sources except that CSV or SQL.
Yeah.
What would be your consultant, and you have been consultant for many years now, like what are the most popular data sources that you have been, that your client has to get data from?
Well, I think now with TM1Py we have a lot more opportunities, and really we're only limited by our imagination. I think when we go out to the internet, there's so many data sources that we can query and bring that to our TM1 models. Like thinking of things like weather forecasts, right, or like consumer confidence. Certain things we can just get from the internet for free, bring that into our TM1 models, and that can add a lot of value. Yeah,
or something which is also very common is exchange rate.
Oh, exactly.
Like usually you read it online and you have to input it on monthly basis or every day. So, so now you can get it from the web.
Exactly. Like in Europe, we have a provider, the European Central Bank. They offer an API that is quite easy to use, very reliable, and I mean that saves a lot of time. I mean, there's still projects out there where people go manually, right, and they hack these rates into the cube, and that's not just error-prone. That also can be very frustrating for people.
So now they could just run a Python script, or it could run in the background to get the data and send it to the cube.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, and is there, like, if I want to do this, like, do I have to start from scratch? Because I'm not not an expert in Python. Yeah. Like, you have samples, or?
Yeah, Cubewise, we're trying to provide samples for that. We've written a few samples for Google Analytics. That's quite nice, actually. That allows us to Google Analytics that's monitoring the traffic on our homepage. So what we can do is we can use Python to access the API from Google Analytics, pull that into our cube. And that in combination with our sales data, I think that's very powerful.
Okay, so if we take the example of Google Analytics or even the web services, it's the same. So with Python, you connect to these web services, you get the data, and then you send it straight away to the TM1 cube, or do you extract into a CSV and then you write the TM1 process? You have different options.
Yes, you can do that.
So you can do either one or the other?
Yeah.
Okay. So would you have any recommendation or preferences, like because if tomorrow you have to get data from exchange rate from web services and send it to a TM1 cube?
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I think we also have a sample for that to get the data from the exchange, from the European Central Bank, pull it into Python, and then write it straight to the cube.
So it's just one script? Yeah,
it's one script. It's really just maybe 20 lines of code. It's not that complex.
So in this case, you load data straight into a TM1 cube, but you could have done it with a TM1 process as well. So, like in terms of speed, or is there a difference? Have you done some tests on the difference between sending data from Python or sending data to a cube from a TM1 process?
Well, yeah. In terms of speed, so we have to admit that at the moment, TI is the fastest way to write to a cube. We've done some tests recently with TM1Py. We're able to maybe write 20 or 30,000 cells to a cube in 1 second, which is fast, but TI is still faster. And actually, I had the opportunity to talk to Hubert about this at this conference. He explained to me that this is due to some internals in the API. And what he told me is that TI is completely oblivious about security. And while the REST API, it is a bit more cautious. It does more checks in terms of the security model, where it can write to and where it can't. And that slows us down a little bit.
Okay. So you will say, like, just for at the moment when you send data into the cube, it might be faster if you have lots of data to use TM1 process. So you can still use Python. So you will have to use another language to get the data out, and you can transform it to a CSV and then use the TM1 process to load this data into the TM1 cube.
Yeah,
so that would be the fastest if you have lots of data.
I guess so, yeah. But I think that only applies if we're talking of millions of records, right? This is like the data we would classically load from a GL or from a transactional system. And this is where we could have, I guess this is where we would normally use TI anyways.
Yeah, because for exchange rate, you don't have that much data, so you can just do it with one script.
I think so too, yes.
Okay, but so just sending the data is kind of a bit of a limitation currently of the REST API versus TM1 process, but the advantage of it is once you have your data out, you can do the calculation much faster for some of the calculation, because like the IRR, you can do this calculation outside and then send it back.
Exactly.
And that will be faster than doing a calculation in your TM1 process.
Yeah. That's a good use case for TM1Py to calculate certain things which are difficult in TI, right? Like a standard deviation, for instance, calculating that in TI is way more difficult than you would expect.
Okay.
Or certain accounting measures like IRR or net present value. In Python, we get that for free in one line of code. So that's a good use case. Get our data, calculate something, write it back.
Yeah, and there's a lot of examples on internet as well.
Yeah.
And all right, so I'm not an expert in Python again yet. I hope soon. So where, if I want to start, tomorrow, what should I do? Should I get your samples? Is it on?
Definitely.
Why is it easy to? I just Google it, TM1Py samples? Or?
Yeah, on GitHub there's a project called TM1Py samples. I'd recommend to just download that, play around and see. I think we have 70 samples now. Just play around with that, see how it works, and if you have questions, just post them on GitHub. We do try to support you.
Yeah, and not just you actually. I wanted just to highlight someone from the US, Ryan Clapp. Ryan, if you're watching, thank you for supporting the community, because he's also very active on GitHub. So if you have any questions, you just add TM1Py on GitHub and you can ask any questions, and all the community will help you, but you will see that it's lots of time it's Marius and Ryan Clapp as well.
Yeah.
So I guess at the end of this video, we covered all the topic what we wanted.
Yeah.
So thank you, Marius, and thanks for watching. And I hope that you will try Python. It doesn't cost anything, just time, and it's a good skill to learn.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, and hope we'll have another video soon.
All right.
Thank you.